Hi there, welcome to Yoga with Rachel, and also welcome to day 3 of our 7-day yoga challenge. So today's class is all about the hips and the lower back. For today's practice, I highly recommend that you bring a blanket or a pillow to your space, just because a lot of the postures we will be doing today are on the knees. If you do not have those items, it's all good. You can always fold your yoga mat over for that extra padding. All right, without further ado, let's get started. We begin day 3 of our journey in extended child's pose. But before heading into the posture, I do invite you to make use of a folded blanket or a pillow. Place that item beneath your knees as well as the shins for extra padding. If you do not have an item available, you can always fold your yoga mat in half for that extra padding. All right, let's come on down to all fours. Bring your big toes together and then walk your knees towards the long edges of your mat or to a width that feels comfortable for you. Now sit back towards your heels and then walk your hands towards the top edge of your mat. Take a breath in here, and then as you breathe out, begin to release your forehead to the mat. Heart reaches towards the earth, forearms relax, hands relax as well as your fingers. Extended child's pose. So friends, if you need a little bit more space in the upper body, feel free to place your hands on the mat, one on top of the other, so stacking the hands, and then release your forehead to your stacked hands or to stacked fists. And if these options are just not your thing, you can always come to lay on your back with your knees hugged in, as this, shows some love to the lower back. Or you can come to a cross-legged seat, opening on up through the hips. So the choice is yours. I invite you to go inward and listen to your body. Respond. So wherever you have landed, I invite you to just tune into your breath. Just noticing where the breath is moving your physical body. Perhaps in your belly, your side body, maybe your low back. I invite you to play around with directing the breath down to your low back as well as your hips. Just noticing if this changes anything. All right, one more breath cycle here. Okay, press the palms down into the earth, lift your forehead away from the mat, look forward, and then press on up to all fours. Great job. Walk your hands so that way they're stacked underneath your shoulders and then towards the long edges of your mat, and your lower body can remain rooted in place. Press away from your yoga mat, so out of your foundation. On your next breath in, reach your tailbone towards the sky, drop your belly, open on up through your chest, look forward. Breathe on out to tuck the tailbone under, round through the back body, chin releases towards your chest. Breathe in, coming back the way that you came, opening on up through the front body, through your throat. And then breathe on out to round through, feeling a beautiful stretch in the upper back perhaps. Breathe in, dropping your belly. Breathing on out to round through the spine. And then breathe in to find a neutral spine. And now I invite you to walk your hands so that way they're stacked underneath the shoulders once again. Bring your right fingertips to your left wrist and actively press away from the earth. So just as we did yesterday in day 2, when we were in that tabletop position, this was heart collapsed. This is actively pressing away. So that exact same action. So your right fingertips on your left wrist, draw a line up your arm across your chest, and then right hand reaches towards the sky. So we're just finding a bit of a spinal twist here. Breathe in, and then breathe on out to send your right hand behind your left arm, reaching towards the left side, rotating our torso towards the ground. Your right hand reaches, so it's staying above the earth. Breathe in, right hand to the sky, so coming back the way that we came, you can look on up. And then breathe on out, sending the right hand and arm behind the left arm. One more round on your own time. All right, release your right palm down to the ground. Place your left fingertips on your right wrist. Draw a line up your arm, across your chest, and then left hand high into the sky. You can look on up towards that hand. Take a breath in here, and then breathe on out to begin to rotate at the torso, sending the left arm behind the right, reaching. Breathe in, left hand to the sky. Breathe on out. You know what to do. One more round on your own time. Beautiful. Release your left palm to the earth and then walk your knees so that way they are stacked underneath your hips and your shins are parallel to one another. All right. Curl your right toes under and then slide your right foot towards the back edge of your mat. Rock a little forward and back a few times. So we're stretching out through the leg, the ankle, the wrists. Find stillness here. Breathe in through your nose. And then as you breathe out, hug your right knee in towards your chest and then step the right foot through between your hands and then walk your left knee back in space to help deepen that stretch. Getting a beautiful stretch in that left hip, the top of the left hip. So your front knee is stacked over top of your ankle, and we are light on those fingers. Breathe in, opening on up through the heart. Breathe out. All right, friends, before we go any further, I invite you to take a look at that back leg. Just notice if, the toes are splaying out a little bit or the leg is splaying out. Just try your best to align the back toes with the back edge of your mat. All right, so press into all that is touching the earth, and then on your next breath in, send the hands high into the sky, reaching for the stars. Breathe out to relax your shoulders down. All right, so right here, we're pressing out of our foundation. We have this energetic lift going on. We're not dumping weight really into that front leg. Instead, we're finding a beautiful lift. And with the right thumb, you can actually place it on your right hip crease to help peel that hip crease back, directing the hips forward. All right, friends, take a breath in here. And then breathe on out to bring your hands together to your heart before finding a twist to the right. So placing the left elbow on the outer right thigh, directing your right elbow back. And we are using the breath here to help guide us into this twist. So we're not forcing anything here. You got this. Breathe in. Breathe on out to unravel, coming back to center, and then place your hands on the ground So we're folding forward, fingertips on the ground, and then send your hips back, rolling onto the right heel. We find a small bend in that right knee. Breathe in to look forward, and then breathe on out to round through your spine, chin to chest. Breathe in here, and then breathe on out to roll it on through. Wonderful. Whole foot down on the ground. Bring the right hand over to the left side. Plant both palms on the ground so your right hand is beside your left hand. And then begin to shimmy your right foot towards the right long edge of your mat. Your toes turn out and then your heel turns in. For more of a stretch, you can always walk that back knee a little bit further back in space. You can also lower down onto the forearms too. If you would like a little bit more fire, you can lift that back knee away from the ground, reaching your back heel towards the back edge of your mat. So choose an option that feels good. We're here for a couple more breath cycles. All right, friends. So begin to walk your right foot towards the center of your mat. So that way your hands are framing that foot once again. Plant your palms on the earth to step it on back to a tabletop position. Great. So we're just resetting here. Curl the left toes under and then slide the left foot towards the back edge of your mat where we're going to find that rock. All right, find stillness. Press into the top of the right foot. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe on out to hug the left knee in towards your heart, and then step the left foot through. Again, you can walk that right knee back in space if you're looking for a deeper stretch. Front knee stacked over top of that front ankle. Breathe in to look forward, and then breathe on out. On your next breath in, press into all that is touching the earth, all that is connected, to send your hands to the sky, palms facing one another, lifting out of our foundation, peeling that left hip crease back. Breathe in. Breathe out to bring your palms together and then to your heart space before finding a twist to the left. So your right elbow connects with your outer left thigh. So use the breath here to guide you into this twist. You got this. Breathe in. And then breathe on out to unravel. Float your hands down to the ground, fingertips kiss the earth, and then send your hips back, lifting pretty much all of your left foot away from the ground except for the heel. Finding a small bend in that left knee. Breathe in to look forward, and then breathe on out to round through, bow your head. Feeling that beautiful, juicy hamstring stretch. Breathe in. Breathe on out to roll it on through. Your whole foot is planted on the ground. And now bring your left hand over to meet the right, planting both palms on the ground. And then walk your left foot towards the left long edge of your mat. Toes turning out, heel turns in, and the knee is still stacked over top of the ankle. All right, friends, so you choose an option here that will feel super, super yummy for you. Remember to stay connected with that breath. Breathing love into your hips. It's a big hip opener here. All right. So you can come up onto the fingertips as you begin to walk your left foot back in towards center. Ooh, my ankle just cracked there. Clearly needed that one. Plant your palms and then step it back to a tabletop position. All right. So we're going to come off the knees now so you can remove your item if you were using one. Just take a moment to check in. All right, so in tabletop position, I now invite you to walk your hands towards the long edges of your mat. Your index fingers face forward, pressing into the fingertips. Elbow creases shine towards the top edge of the mat. Curl your toes under. Breathe in. Breathe on out to lift your knees away from the ground, and then send your hips to the sky, downward facing dog. I don't know why I keep on wanting to say job. Downward facing dog. Okay. Pedal out the feet here. All right, I invite you to find stillness, keeping a small bend in your knees. As you anchor through the left heel, breathe in to slide your right foot up an imaginary wall. Dial the toes down so we're leveling out the hips so your heel is roughly in line with your right hip. Bend at your right knee, and then begin to draw some slow circles with your right knee. Now pay attention to all that is touching the earth. Again, just like in day one, we're all about establishing that strong foundation. So just pay attention to that. Shift the weight over towards maybe a little bit more weight towards the right palm to keep you grounded and stable here. All right, and then reverse that circle. All right, friends, release your right foot down to the ground, anchor through the right foot, breathe in to slide the left foot up the imaginary wall, then breathe on out to bend at that knee, and then once again, drawing some circles. So focus less on how this may look, and instead focus on sensation, so how it feels in your body. All right, so you can reverse that circle. All right, and then release that left foot down to the ground. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, let's make our way to the top of the mat. You can step there, hop there, crisscross your feet there. Do-si-do, no, I'm kidding. All right. Let's meet together in a standing forward fold. Bend your knees quite generously to allow the belly to rest on the tops of the thighs. And the reason why I like to really bend my knees in forward folds, standing forward folds, is because it really protects the low back. All right, allow your head to grow heavy here as you walk your fingers towards the left side of your mat. It's all good if the fingers are hovering off of the mat. Breathe into the right side of your body. And then walking the fingers through center and then to the right side. Once again, bringing that breath. And then back through center. Fingertips on the earth. We breathe in. And we breathe out. So keep your fingertips on the earth as you step your right foot back towards the back of your mat. So past the halfway point of your mat, and then your fingertips will be framing your left foot. So the back heel is lifted. We're pressing into all that is touching the earth. Take a breath in here, and then breathe on out to send your hands to the sky. We're rising on up, finding a high lunge. Bend into that front knee, stacking your knee over top or slightly behind the ankle. Direct your hips to face forward towards the top edge of your mat. We're finding a small bend in that back knee. And if you feel like you are on a tight rope, Feel free to make any adjustments to your stance, meaning your feet, maybe even just creating a little bit more space. All right, bend at your elbows, draw the hands back in space, really opening on up through your chest, finding cactus arms. On your next breath in, send your hands to the sky, straighten through both legs. And then breathe on out to bend into the knees, bend at the elbows. Breathe in, hands high into the sky, reaching, straighten through the legs. And then breathe out to bend. As you do this, hug belly button in towards the spine. Breathe in, hands up and overhead, reaching. Breathe out to bend. One more on your own time. All right, start to fold forward, releasing your fingertips to the ground, and then your right foot comes on up, joining the left foot, and we meet in a forward fold once again. So keep your fingertips on the ground to support you as you step your left foot towards the back edge of your mat. That heel remains lifted, and the hands or the fingertips come to frame your right foot. Take a breath in here. And then on your breath out, sending the hands to the sky. We find our high lunge on this side. Whenever you are ready, bend at the elbows, find your goalpost arms, drawing the hands back in space, open on up through your heart. Breathe in to send your hands to the sky, straightening through your legs, and then breathe out to bend. You got this. Breathe in, hands reach, legs straighten. Breathe out, bend and sink lower. 2 more on your own time. Beautiful. Begin to fold forward. Fingertips to the ground. Find a little bit of a bouncing action in that back knee. Got really excited there. And then step your left foot up to meet your right. We meet together in a forward fold. Grab opposite elbows and then just sway from side to side. Stretching out through the backs of the legs. All right, release your fingertips to the ground. Breathe in to find a halfway lift. Breathe on out to fold. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe on out through your mouth. Plant your palms on the mat. And then step your right foot back, followed by your left foot. We meet in a high plank, stacking the wrists so that way they're underneath the shoulders, heels actively reaching towards the back edge of your mat. We're pressing out of our foundation as the shoulder blades go from left to right. Hug the belly button in towards the spine, bracing your core. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your knees down to the ground and then come to sit on your heels with your legs and your feet together. And now lead with your heart as you begin to fold forward on top of your thighs, releasing your forehead to the ground. You can either have your hands reaching forward, or you can send the hands back with your palms reaching towards the sky. Fingers are soft. Child's pose. Another option is to open your knees and explore an extended child's pose, just as we did at the beginning of our practice together. Another option is to come to lay on your back with the knees hugged in. And again, you can always find a cross-legged seat on your mat. So wherever you have landed, I invite you to really bring your breath. You can find a gentle sway here from side to side, massaging the forehead. This posture can be so soothing, and it can help release the low back. So maybe just send the breath to your lower back. And perhaps as you do this, you can feel the low back expand on the inhale. And then soften and release on that exhale. All right. Reach your hands forward if they're not already. And now lift your forehead away from the ground and then slowly roll on up through your spine. Take your time. Just notice how you feel. All right, so now we are going to come to a seated position on the mat, and I invite you to face towards one of the longer edges of your mat. Place your fingertips on the ground and then place your feet on the earth, knees pointing upwards, and then walk the feet so that way they're wider than hip distance apart. All right, melt the knees over towards the right side. And now, usually we just kind of hang out here, if you're used to practicing with me, but we're gonna explore something called a 90-90. So in order to do this, what we're gonna do is with the right leg, we are going to walk the right foot out a little bit. So that way the ankle is in line with the right knee. And then move your knee, your right knee, so that way it is in line with your right hip. So essentially, we're just creating a 90-degree angle at the back of the right knee. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the left side. So the ankle is in line with the knee, and then the knee is in line with the hip. And you will also notice that your glute is kind of lifted away from the ground. It's all good. You can allow that to happen. If you would like to, you can place a folded blanket or a pillow underneath that hip if that feels better. And now we are going to turn our upper body to face towards our right leg. Just checking it out here for a moment. We're staying nice and active in our feet, so we're flexing through the feet. Breathe in here, and then breathe on out to release your fingertips to the earth right by your right shin. Breathe in here, and then breathe on out. As an option, you can fold forward, lowering down onto the forearms and interlacing your fingers. So you can totally stay lifted, or you can come on down to the forearms, up to you. We are here for 3 breath cycles. All right, so if you were on your forearms, come up onto the fingertips and then slowly rise on up. And let's take it over to the left side. So the exact same setup as before. We're just trying to create 90-degree angles at the backs of each knee. All right, stay active in the feet. Direct your upper body to face now towards the left leg. You can begin to fold forward, coming onto the fingertips, and then eventually maybe you melt it on down, coming to the forearms. Breathing deeply here. This is actually one of my favorite hip stretches. I like to do it while watching TV. It's very, very close to how I feel about butterfly pose because, typically when I go into butterfly pose, I give my feet a nice massage. So it's pretty close. It's pretty close to butterfly. I still think I like butterfly better, but anyways, breathe deeply here. Okay. Come up onto those fingertips if you're on your forearms. And now let's melt the knees back through center. And we're gonna stay in a seated position. But now we're gonna walk the feet so that way they're hip distance apart, knees still pointing upwards. And we're kind of creating like two parallel slides here. Wrap your arms around your hamstrings, not your shins, around your hamstrings. And then just bow your head, chin towards your chest. So not only does this posture offer a sweet release to the lower back, but it's also a really great one for going inward, for connecting and just maybe even reflecting on how we feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. So today's practice really offered a great release to the lower back. We also explored postures that can strengthen the low back. And we also explored a number of gorgeous hip openers. The hips are said to store a lot of emotion there. So if any emotions did bubble to the surface today, please know that you're not alone. One final breath here. And now let's lift the head. And I invite you to come to a cross-legged seat or any seat of your own choosing on the mat. Bring your palms together, hands to your heart, bow your head. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose or your mouth. Thank you so very much for being here today. So day number 3, it's in the books. I cannot wait to see you for day number 4 tomorrow. Until then, take good care. An invitation to close today's practice by saying Namaste.